easy. So let's try the next one. The next one is not, well, there'll be something a little different about it. So let me show you that. Oh, wait, so I'll do it over here because I know a few people are finishing up at home. So we have negative 4x plus a 5y equals 2. I just have 4 of these to do with you, and then we'll talk about what we're doing at the other part of class. So we have a system of equations. Once again, we have 2 equations and there's 2 variables, and we need to solve it. If I start adding things, nothing eliminates, right? Because negative 4 plus negative 4 is negative 8. 5 plus 5 is 10. Nothing works. So what I notice is, just pick one. I'm picking the x's. It doesn't really matter. The numbers are the same, so I'm feeling good about that. But I need their signs to be opposite to eliminate. So if these are both negative, I want to turn one of them positive. How could I do that? Yep.
Do you multiply by a negative?
Yep, beautiful. You just multiply by negative 1. Pick one. So once again, sometimes you might pick a different one. It's fine. I just randomly pick the second one. I'm going to multiply by just a negative or negative 1 just to change the sign. I'm a rewriter, so if you're kind of doing stuff in your head, go for it. But I'm going to rewrite the first equation just so everything's lined up. Everything in the second equation gets multiplied by negative 1. Because if I change one sign, I have to change all the signs. And now I'm set up to add them and have something eliminate. Oh my goodness, guys. This eliminates. This eliminates. If everything eliminates from one side, just write 0. There's nothing left on that side, right? And technically this eliminates too. And I get the answer 0 equals 0. What would I write as my final actual answer? Infinitely many, because 0 does equal 0. That's a true statement. So this would be an infinitely many solution. It was like those good old special cases. So once again, if you have no variables left, everything cancels, and your statement is true, which that is, it's infinitely many. If your statement was false, like 0 equals 7, it would have been no solution. So that one, maybe just like that quick little step of just changing the sign. But besides that, everything's basically the same. Any questions with the second one? Wait, we're getting snow tomorrow, guys? Again? What is going on with this?
Noise.
I'm not. Do you like snow?
No.
Oh, God. I was really banking on a delay this morning, and I was really sad when we didn't have a delay. Almost cried a little bit.
It was a struggle. Let me tell you, it was a struggle to get up this morning.
I know. And the roads were fine. It was I was being very dramatic.
The Super Bowl just
Oh, yeah. I ended at 10.
I didn't need to. I was on TikTok and I said times too. And I get a shower.
I go to bed at 10:30.
No, I did not go. I went down. Yeah.
Anyways. And I think we're supposed to have another storm on Friday.
Oh my God.
Thursday. I hate snow so much.
Me too.
I'm not like you people that like winter. I respect you, but God, I hate it. I'm not gonna lie. I have little kids, and I didn't even go outside yesterday. They didn't even play in the snow. I don't care.
I like the things that you do in
know.
winter, but I just don't.
I feel like such a bad person, but I just don't want to go outside. I don't.
The pond's been freezing, so you can do that.
What?
The pond's been freezing, so you can do that.
Yeah, that still requires me to go outside.
I like the things that you do, but I don't like the cold or the snow.
No, I just don't like anything. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You're
That's
missing out,
okay.
Mr. Sherman.
What?
You're missing out.
I know. I just hate being cold. Hate it.
I would rather be inside.
Me too. I'd rather just be summer. Okay. Sorry, I went off on my tangent. So let's try the third one. So each of these, something's kind of building in a little bit different. So I just wanted to show you all the examples so you've seen them. And then I have one more after this one. So we said, I want something to eliminate. I see everything's lined up, so I'm feeling good about that. But right now, if I added them, nothing would eliminate. excuse me, it's not like this one that we just did because those ones, like the numbers kind of match, just I needed to change a sign. So I need to just make one of them cancel. Hey guys, if you were looking, do you think it's gonna be easier, look at the coefficients, to cancel the x's or the y's?
Why?
The y's are gonna be easier because we need to make the numbers the same, right? With opposite sign. But 2 and 7, that's just annoying. This one's not as bad because I have a 1 and an 8, so I really only have to multiply this one equation to match it there. So here's what I do. I kind of organize my brain first. If this is an 8, I want to make this an 8, so I'm going to multiply by 8. If this is a positive, I want this to be the opposite sign, so I need to make that a -8. So kind of go in, just organizing yourself. Look at your variables. I always try to just multiply one number if possible. So say, can I multiply one number to make it match with the other one? If not, we'll do that as the next step or as the next problem. So at this point, that's kind of the setup. I like to rewrite it. I tend to find if I try to do too many things at once, I get all sorts of, my brain gets all sorts of crazy. So I'm going to rewrite the first equation and then I'll line up the second equation. That would be what? 16x minus 8y equals 88. Holy bajoli here. All right, what do we got? I'm getting lazy. -7 plus 16 I could have done. That's 9x. These eliminate because when I add them, it's 0. Okay, really, Mr. Sure. I'm embarrassed. I just picked up my calculator. That gives me 90. And then I'll divide, and x will equal 10. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good. That wasn't too terrible. I do need to find the y that corresponds or goes with it. So I'm going to go back and plug it into one of my equations. Pick one. I don't really care. I'm going to pick the second original one. Once again, I usually go with the smaller numbers. So if you pick the first one, we'll get the same answer. So it's just a preference thing. Like if you're taking an assessment eventually, it doesn't matter which one you plug into. But I pick one. I'm going to plug in what I know. I know that x is 10. I'm going to do a little simplifying because I know that -2 times 10 is -20. And then I'm going to solve for y. That's just going to equal 9, right? So my final answer would be the point 10, 9, because it's always x, 1. Beautiful. So the first one, you just kind of added, you were good. The second one, you had to change the sign. The third one, you had to multiply one of the equations to make sure the coefficients would cancel, and then we have one more. You could maybe guess, in this next one, you're going to have to multiply both equations. And then we'll kind of regroup after that, see if there's questions, try one or two, and then maybe try a substitution just to make sure we're not forgetting about that as well. All right, so here's my kind of last one in this progression here. So we got 3x plus 7y equals 1 and 6. Sorry, I know I'm in the way at home. 10x plus 10y equals. Okay. So as I'm starting to kind of look at this one and just kind of organize my thoughts, I remind myself, okay, everything's lined up, so that's looking like elimination, because when we eventually take an assessment, we might see multiple, like some might be substitution, so we want to make sure we just recognize the setup. And then I remind myself, well, to eliminate for one of the variables, either the x's or y's, I need to have the coefficients be the same number with opposite signs. So I always ask myself, well, is there any easy way? But there's no easy way to multiply 3 to get to 10. I don't want to use fractions or decimals. And there's no easy way to multiply 7 to get to 10. So if that's the case, you're going to have to multiply both equations. So picking a variable, I'm going to pick the x's because the numbers are smaller. Hey guys, if I have a 3 and a 10, and I want these coefficients to be the same, what's the least common multiple between 3 and 10?
10,
30.
30. I want to make them both a 30. Yeah, 10 and 3. You can just multiply them together. So if I want to make these both the same number, I'm going to have to make them 30. It's the lowest number that they can go to. So I'm going to have to multiply both of them. This one by 10, this one by 3. And then just pick one to make negative. It doesn't matter which one. But you do have to remind yourself you need opposite signs. So I'm definitely rewriting here. So what will I get? 30x plus 70y equals 260. So that's just taking the first equation, multiplying everything by 10. And then the second equation, I'll get negative 30x minus 30y equals 60. It would turn positive, right, because you have two negatives. And now I can add my equations together. So a lot of it's just like staying organized with your setup. I know a lot of people like to kind of skip steps and just be like, do your own thing here, but try to write everything down. It makes for less mistakes. 30x plus negative 30x eliminates. That was my main goal. 70y plus negative 30y gives me 40y. And 260 plus 60 gives me 320. And if I multiply both sides by 40, I'm going to get that y equals 8. So the numbers were a little bigger, but it really didn't make it that much harder. And remember, you can always use a calculator if you need it. But we know we're not done. We have to find the x that corresponds to that point. So pick an equation. I'm going to be honest, like these ones have smaller numbers, but I just like 10s. So I'm going to go with that second equation. So it's just preference. Whichever one makes you happier, go with that one. Pick an equation. Plug in what you know. I know that y is 8. And then just do a little simplifying and solving. 10 times 8 is 80. And then I'm just going to go through. Oh, that's not bad because 10x equals negative 100. I missed the negative there. And if I divide by 10, x would equal negative 10, right? Why can't I just like not write negative signs today? What's going on with my life? And then I got my final answer of negative 10, comma 8. Okay, so I'll give everyone a second to get caught up. If nothing else, you write it down. But those are kind of like the different things that might pop up with elimination. Most of it is just kind of getting that set up where something actually eliminates. So you might have to multiply one equation or both equations to either change signs or coefficients. But then from there, it's kind of the same. You just add them, find your variable, and then plug it back in. So there we go. At the moment, are there any questions on the process of elimination? All right, let me just give you one to try, because it's one of those, I just don't want to throw these chat boards at you. Sorry, I'm trying to do one. I know it's kind of easy to I need to make it aggressively big so I can actually see. All right, so you guys are trying this one on your own. So going over the steps that we just did, could you solve this one? Equals negative 8. Okay, so you have a system of equations. I'm just going to say solve. I'm going to say solve using elimination, just as a hint. But everything's lined up, so you should be leaning towards that way anyways. So remember, organize yourself first. Should I cancel x's or y's? Look at the coefficients, which ones are going to be easier to match, but they do have to be opposite signs. And then can you go through that?
I have a question.
Sure.
So on number 3,
Yep, the third one.
you only multiplied One of the equations,
Yep.
on number 4, you multiply both. What's the difference? Because they're like, they both have different, like, x's and y's.
So, let me just come show you, because it's one of those X's. I have to work the problem, you know? Sanitize myself before I can put you in here. No, these are just notes. No, just the third one that we did on the board. I know what you mean. So the reason in the first, the number 3, we only multiply by 1 is because my main goal is to just match either the X's or Y's. I want the numbers to be the same, right?
Mhm.
So if I look at this, I always think, is there any way to multiply 2 to get to 7? No. But is there any way to multiply 1 to get to 8? Yeah, I could just multiply by 8 and then change the sign. But here, is there any easy way to multiply 3 to get to 10? No. And is there any easy way to multiply 7 to get to 10? No. So since there's no easy way to just multiply 1, then you have to multiply both.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
yes. Thank you.
Yep. Feel free if you're at home, you can always write in the chat, or you can just let me know if you have any questions. Just gonna do attendance quickly.
It's a shot put at home.
All right, I'll give you about 30 more seconds. Oh, and then last week you guys were doing those problems. Who's at home today? Did we do 1 to 13 odds on the problem sets? I remember.
I thought it was 1 to 9.
1 to 9. I don't know why I had 13 in my head.
1
Thank
to
you.
9, only odds.
Yeah, I knew it was odds. I just couldn't remember. I think in my other class it was. All right, so let's go over this one. So I would organize my brain first. Okay, elimination, everything's lined up. But nothing's gonna eliminate right now. So I always ask myself, can I multiply one equations and not I'd have to multiply both? So y's aren't gonna work because there's no easy way to multiply 3 to get to 4. But x's will, because I can multiply 8 to get to 16. So I always ask myself, can I multiply the smaller number to match the larger number? And the answer is yes. I can multiply that by 2. Then they would both be 16. But since this is negative, I do want to change that sign to a positive, so I make that a negative 2 if you ever want to change the sign. Don't you? You only have to do one. If you kind of decided on the y's, you'd have to multiply both of them, so it's just a preference thing. We should get the same answer, no matter what. So let's go through and just check our answer. So when I multiply it, I'll get 16x minus 8y equals 16. I'll add and eliminate. What's that give me? Negative 5y equals negative 10. So y would equal 2. You can check that right now that you got that first part. Obviously, you need that to plug it back in. If you get the first part wrong, it kind of messes up the rest of your problem. But let's throw that back in. Pick an equation. I'm going to pick the second one. Once again, I usually go with the lower number. It doesn't really matter though. Just a preference thing. Ooh, I ran out of one there. So I'm going to replace my y with 2. I'm gonna do a little simplifying because I know that that just becomes 8. Ooh, a lot of 8s there. And then I'm just gonna do some solving. You guys should have had that done. I'm just gonna go through and do mine. If I divide, x will equal 2. And then I will have my final answer of 2, 2. 2, 2. So everyone, right now, can you please check that answer and see if you followed along on your own? Are there any questions? People here, anyone at home have a question? I'll take that. Oh, yes.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes, go ahead. So I'll take that as a no from people at home. Okay, so we've been working on elimination. We do have some like crazier ones we can do. We're not gonna do those today. We're gonna focus on the basics today. We might do 1 or 2 of the fun ones tomorrow. Let me find my problem. So I don't know if I have one. Well, I do, but I just don't know where I put it. No, that's not it. Sorry, I have like 8,000 things. I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna pretend that it's not there. I'm just gonna find mine over here. Do-do-do, number 1. Well. All right, so yesterday we had done 1 through 9, or whenever that was, Friday we had done 1 through 9, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like losing my mind.
It's Friday, I think.
Yeah, just Friday, right, last Friday. Today's
Yeah.
Monday, yeah. Oh, I'm losing it, guys. So, our main goal is we wanna practice a little bit with elimination today. Okay, oh, we can totally do this. So, I'm gonna say this is like now work / if you don't finish it now, I'm gonna check it tomorrow. So people in class, and people at home, but I'm gonna give people at home a little different instructions in a moment. Let's kind of as a wrap up, we're gonna do, we'll stick with odds. You guys are gonna do 11 to 19 odds. If anyone in here needs,
Can I have a printed one and then I'll just transfer over to mine?
maybe. Hold on, give me a second.
Okay.
I just have one, I thought I had more, I do have more somewhere, I just need to find it. So just give me a second.
Okay.
I just have stuff right there. What's this?